Look. Good evening, guys. What is it tonight? It's the 19th of February. And what is it? It's 7 o'clock here in Ireland. Welcome, everybody. You may have been here last night. Last night, 8 o'clock, we had 35 people who had registered and who followed the webinar, which was about traumatic experiences and how to handle that. Now, actually, last night already announced that some throat issues that now seem to come up, so let me allow myself to cough. So let's see. Just do a quick round of intro. Carol Benson, not sure if you were there last night. Darius, it's great to see you, man. I've seen you before. We had a talk on the phone that was absolutely great. We got Jennifer here. That's great. Karen, awesome. Good to see you, Karen. Jenny, good. Was anybody of you here last night by any chance? So basically what we normally do, we have the chat wide open. And my first question is always, where are you from? And why in particular did you want to attend tonight's webinar? That was actually my first question here, but maybe some of you have been here last night. It would be great to know about you. If you were here last night, would just be great for me to find out. All right, there's Darius. Thank you. Good evening. I'm clicking from near Bergen. So guys, Darius is actually following this webinar from Norway, all the way from Norway. Now, I don't know where Bergen is. I'm not sure if that's somewhere down or middle or more up north. But I suppose right now it could be a bit chilly. All right. So Carol, Jennifer, Karen, yeah, drop something in the chat. Would be nice to know where you're from. All right, Jennifer, good. So you forgot about last night's one. Got it when I realized. Was it recorded or is it going to be repeated? Yes, I can actually send you the link, Jennifer. Now, what we did last night was very, very well received. And to be honest with you, I actually had it well prepared. Unlike tonight, I had no preparation at all, so I might just do it a bit out of the cuff. It all depends on what you guys actually want to get out of it tonight. But last night it was definitely well received. We gave a lot of examples. We went over like, what is the mind? How does it work? What is it that causes you stress? Where does it come from? What is it that holds you back? And then finally, how do you handle that? All right, so Darius says, West coast of Norway. Yes, still chilly today, but full of artificial clouds. I got you. Now, my name is Erik. As you can tell, I'm not Irish. I'm not English. I'm not even American or whatever. You can probably tell by my accent, I'm none of those. I'm actually Dutch. I'm from Holland. I've been out of my country for more than 20 years. Lived in Venezuela, Mexico, Caribbean combined for 10 years. I lived in Denmark and Sweden for a while, Belgium, some other places right now in Ireland since the last 3 years, and that's what I enjoy. I always enjoy to pick new destinations, stay there for a while, and move on again. My background is in engineering. I worked for Caterpillar for a long time, and I've also been in sales for quite a bit. And one of my passions is actually to relay useful information. Right now, the thing that I'm really curious about is that we have this webinar tonight, which is about the unconscious mind. It's a bit of a misnomer, but we're gonna go into that misnomer. But you will help me tremendously right now if you put something in the chat, why you are here or what it is that you want to find out. So what is it tonight that you want to find out? Yeah, I'm really curious about that. And we might just make it into a beautiful webinar, but that would actually help a lot. The whole thing about this subconscious mind is a bit the following. So let you guys type how to program subconscious mind. Okay, good. I got you. That's from Darius. All right. If anybody else, let me know. Now, when we're talking about the mind, we're also talking about mental health. And in a way, in some sense, mental health has not too good of a name. It's actually got a bit of a bad reputation. And why is that? Now, let's say you bring your car to a garage and you would ask the mechanic, do you know anything about cars? Do you know anything about engines, for example? And that guy would say yes. So, well, I seem to have this problem with my engine. Could you explain me in layman's terms what is an engine and how does it work? And he'll be able to tell you in a nutshell. So you'll be able to grasp what is an engine from basically what he tells you. Then based on that problem that you have, you might ask him, well, could you trace the root cause of this problem? Could you find out what makes this happen? And he can do that. He can say, yeah, for sure. So he can, first of all, tell you what is an engine. Secondly, he can tell you what makes that problem happen. Now you ask him, can you fix it? Can you bring it back into the condition that I wanted to have in? He'll say yes. Now, you wouldn't expect an answer like, well, come back in 4 years. That would be utterly ridiculous, right? Or if you would say, well, this is a bit of an intricate kind of problem, just leave it with us for 4 months and maybe, just maybe, we'll have it fixed. You wouldn't accept that either. You would not even accept 4 weeks. You might think with the idea that you may leave the car there for 4 days max, but then you say, I definitely need it back after 4 days. So that is very, very normal when we're dealing with materialistic objects, right? We trust the engineers, we trust the architects, and so on. When we're dealing with the mind, you may ask a mental health specialist the question like, what is the mind? And actually you might get an answer which is either, oh, that would be way above your head, or it would be something brain related, or it would be simply a not really workable answer that you could understand. So you're not essentially getting an answer. Then the next thing is, as you say, you know what, I've been feeling anxious for so long already. Could you find out what makes that happen? What causes this condition? And you're not going to get an answer to that. So now can you fix it? Well, the only way we can fix it is we can numb it. We can give you pills. And that way we can fix it. So, in other words, there honestly is not really any technology there. Now you know that maybe at some point you brought your car to a garage, or you heard from somebody else who brought his car to a garage and got it back in a worse condition. And your judgment would be that the person that had been working on your car would be a very, very clumsy person. It didn't know his business. So, and actually, this is what's honestly happening in the field of mental health. The statistics of insanity are actually going up, telling you that they're not fixing the right thing, they're fixing something else that adds or compounds to the problem that's already there. That's why I just said mental health has got a somewhat bad reputation. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that all practices which are out there are actually bad. There's actually some good stuff there. But of course, we live on planet Earth here, and anything good is easily squashed or suppressed. If you would develop an engine that runs on water, most likely they're going to buy your invention And if you're not going to take the money, you're probably gone a week after. If you would find a cure for the most horrible disease, and it would turn out to be a cure that could make a lot of money, most likely your cure would be bought, or once again, you would be removed from the stage. So that is planet Earth. Now, that also tells you there's something wrong with some people's minds. They're not right in the head, as we say. So, all right, so I got one answer here, yeah? How to program the subconscious mind. Okay, good. So, let me first go into the subconscious thing. Just clear up this whole idea about subconscious. It's quite interesting because sub refers to below. In other words, something under the surface. Conscious actually means being aware. So in other words, subconscious refers to something below your awareness. It's quite an apt title. What we're going to see, it's a bit of a funny one as well. So just to ask you a question. Are you aware of the temperature in your room? Please use the chat. Are you aware of the temperature in your room? And are you aware, for example, of your body position? If you're sitting, if you're lying, if you're relaxing. All right, yes, you're aware of this, right? And are you aware of any discomforts? Maybe any aches or pains or anything that's feeling uncomfortable in your body? And would you be aware of the illumination, the amount of light in the room? Okay, you're ahead. All right, got you. Thank you, Bernie, for your answers. That's good. Now, would you be aware right now of your own emotion? So are you aware of the fact that this whole presentation is just boredom? You feel very bored with this whole thing, or maybe you feel enthusiastic, or maybe you feel like you're rejecting it. You don't like it. Maybe you feel that you're still in some kind of an emotion that got turned on earlier in the day. In other words, are you aware of your emotion right now? Okay, good. Well, that's great. So that is awareness. You're aware of these things. You're aware of the environment. Yeah. So when we talk about awareness, we actually mean aware of the environment. Yeah, you're aware of the environment. What does that mean? It essentially means that you are in communication with. You're in communication with the environment, which is to say you're in communication with your body. You're in communication with, well, the room, so to speak. Yeah, you're picking up perceptions. That is essentially what you're doing. So when you are aware, you're picking up perceptions. Now here's an interesting one. And that awareness is actually scalable. It is actually scalable. I'm just going to draw a scale here. Now, let's say, so right now you're aware of the environment. You're aware of the temperature. You're aware of the amount of light in the room. You're aware of the sounds. You're aware of the position of your body. You also aware of your own emotions, for example. You're aware of your own thoughts. Let's say that awareness is somewhere there. Now, a funny question. Have you ever experienced that you thought about somebody and then that person called you up some moments later or sent you a message? Has that ever occurred to you? Has it ever occurred to you that you thought of somebody and that you got a message from that person, or that you decided to reach out to that person and that person said, hey, that's a funny thing, I was just thinking of you? Have you ever experienced that? I think we got a few yeses here. Yeah, Dimitri, Carol. Okay, Bernie. Okay, so something really interesting, because that awareness is actually higher than that average. It's actually higher. Now, I'm going to ask you a fun question. Yeah? So if that happened, did you think that was just a coincidence, or did you make it happen? So what do you think happened there? That was a coincidence, or you made it happen? What do you think? Coincidence, or you made it happen? Well, I mean, it'll be okay. I get your answer, Bernie. Both. Maybe you want to choose from one or the other. Wait for the other people to respond. So that will happen. Would that be any coincidence, or did you actually make that happen? Now I know, because I've asked that question many times to people. A lot of people would say, well, that's a coincidence. That's a coincidence. Okay. Jenny said, you made it happen. All right. Carol says, you made it happen. My intuition has always been near 100%. All right. Bernie says, I made the coincidence. Okay. So it's interesting here, right? So some people here say, I made that happen. Okay. So now we're going to go into, well, is that a brainwave, or what is exactly going on over there, right? Maybe we can actually go into that tonight. The funny thing is that you can develop your awareness to higher levels where you could actually do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. In other words, you can make that happen all the time. But there's something there in that subconscious thing that will actually pull you away from it and lower your awareness. In other words, if you're in a dangerous environment, you would be less aware of that environment. Let's say you're freaking out at a dentist, or you're freaking out in a hospital. You're not so observant. You're not so perceptive, right? Your awareness has gone down. Now, you can imagine some people take drugs, and that drugs has an awareness boosting effect. But when it wears out, the person is going through some numbness and sleepiness and tiredness, and that awareness would go down again. It would crash rather quickly. All right. Now, I have another question. Are you aware of your memories? Because we're gonna basically bridge this to the mind. So, are you aware of your memories? That is a quick question. Let me just wipe the board in the meantime. Okay, let me see. Yes, majority of them. Yes, but I have a lot I've blocked from childhood. Good. All right, Jenny. Thank you. Thank you for the answer. So let's do a little drill with that. Let's do a little drill with this. Good. Now, can you remember primary school? That's the first question. We're going to do a little drill here. Can you remember primary school? And when I would say primary school, maybe you get something like a picture of the classroom or a picture of the playground, the courtyard. Maybe you can see the building again. Maybe you can see where you entered the building, where you entered the playground. Maybe you can imagine where you would be sitting in that classroom and then see the blackboard again, where you would enter the room. Yeah. So now, while doing this drill very, very quickly, here's the question. Did you get some flashbacks? Did you get some memories? Some pictures, perhaps, flashing by, giving you impressions of those memories? Did you get to see these impressions coming by? Good. Okay, so everybody got that. Beautiful. Now, so that tells you actually you can be aware of your mind. And the next thing that we're going to do is actually we're going to have a little look at what is the mind really. Let's draw a body here. We'll find out that the mind actually makes pictures. So if you're looking at school, for example, you get a picture. Maybe you once had a cat or a dog, and you think of that cat or dog, and you get a picture again. If I would say, think of a nice holiday, for example, you might get a flashback. You might get a picture again. So these things we call mental pictures. All right, so let's do a funny drill here. Now let's inspect one of these pictures a bit more in detail. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to imagine that you're sitting in your favorite chair in the room in one of the houses where you grew up when you were a kid or a teenager. So the whole idea is you're sitting in your favorite chair in the living room in the house where you grew up as a kid or as a teenager. Just see if you can get that picture again. Now, the fun thing here that we can do is that we can imagine being there again, and we can just have a look around and see what is in the room. So one of the things I want you to do, I want you to locate a table. From where you're sitting, locate a table. Do yourself a favor, just point it out. Say, well, you know, I got a table here right in front of me. And when you do that, have a quick look. What is the color of that table? What are the dimensions of that table? What kind of surface does that table have? What is the shape? Did that table come with a little tablecloth? Did the table come with perhaps with some drawers? So now, if you had that, what I want you to do right now is find a window. Right? So find a window from where you're sitting. Try to find a window somewhere in the room. And try to point it out. So say, okay, right, you know, I got a window right over there at my right hand side. Or I got a window over there in front of me. But just point it out. Now, let's have a look at that window. Does it have curtains? Does it have blinds? Is there any plants in the window? And if it has curtains or blinds, what is its texture? And what is the color of it? And now finally, let's find a door. Let's locate a door in that room. And let's just point it out. Where would the door be? Maybe it's behind you, maybe somewhere else, but just point it out. And let's look at the size of the door. What is the size? What is the color of that door? Is it a brown door? Is it a white door? Is it a colored door? What kind of handle did it have? Maybe you can even distinguish the color of the handle and the material. Good. Now, who was able to do this? Who was able to do this and get some pictures here? Drop something in the chat. Maybe some of you guys actually saw objects in their living room. Maybe you got flashbacks. Maybe there's something new that appeared in your mind. Maybe you got some pictures of the window, the plants, pictures of the table, door. Let me know if there's anything that passed by in your mind that you actually saw, that you perceived, that you became aware of. Okay, guys, so Bernie, what do you think? Or Carol, Darius, give me some feedback. Dimitri, Jennifer, did you guys were you able to do this? Did you get the pictures? All right, Dimitri, yeah, pretty clear. Okay, that's fantastic. That's well done. That is well done. Cool. So you got some mental images, yeah? Now, here's a fun fact. These images happen to be three-dimensional, right? So you could actually point them out. You could imagine that you're sitting here. You would say, well, the window is over there. The door is over there. I have a table here in front of me. I could clearly see that there's brown curtains hanging there in front of the windows. And you have that three-dimensional image about you. You can actually point things out. Okay? Now here's a fun fact. You actually didn't point inside of your head. You didn't say, well, the window is over here in my front lobe, and the table is somewhere in the middle of my brain, and then the door is here next to my temple. You didn't do that. You didn't point inside of your brain. In other words, your mind and your brain, there's two distinct things. They're two different things. It's interesting. So I'm going to ask you now, who or what is looking at these pictures then? Who or what is looking at these pictures? What do you think? What do you think yourself is actually looking at those pictures? All right, so Darius says, yeah, I get many visuals, long forgotten. Okay, that's good. It's fantastic. Good, so the next question is, who or what is looking at these pictures? Dimitri says, myself. I like that answer. All right. That's a nice answer. Okay. Well, what does the rest think? What do you think? Who or what is looking at those pictures? What is looking at those pictures of the living room? What is looking at those pictures of, I don't know, primary school? What's looking at it? Maybe if you think of a dog, well, who or what is looking at that picture? We're actually going to discover something seemingly quite new. We're just going to call it you for now, indeed. So now we actually have a man that is divisible in three parts. You got the body, you got the mind, and you got you. Now, first of all, coming back to the title of the webinar tonight, is subconscious. That's only part of the word. The other part of the word is conscious. So you are conscious. You are aware. You're even aware of the fact that you are aware. Right? You're aware of it. Now, if you look at these qualities, you are conscious, you are aware, and you compare that to a lump of fat that's here before, behind your forehead. It's a bit of a funny kind of comparison that some people would state, well, that lump of fat, which is like 70% of fat combined with some water and some, I don't know, minerals perhaps, whatever is in there. We're going to say, well, that lump of fat actually is conscious. It's interesting if you open a skull and you take the brain out, you say, gosh, looks a bit, doesn't look so nice. But you say, well, that thing there is aware. Well, there's something funny going on here, because you would say that you have, for example, two hands. You would say that I have a body. And you would say this in a way like, my body hurts. You wouldn't so much say, I hurt. You would say, my body hurts, or my hand hurts. In other words, you know that a body is something that you have. It's not really something that you are. It's something that you have. Likewise, you know that you have memories. You are aware of the fact that you have memories. And you handle that in a very, very clever way. Let's say, I don't know. Let's imagine this is a set of keys, right? When I come home and I drop my keys on the dresser, and I make a picture over there in my mind that I drop my keys on the dresser. I'm going to do all kinds of errands in the house. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to take a shower. And I'm going to work a little bit, and then I realize I want to go out. But I need my keys again. You would probably not roam around in the house and go to all these different quarters. What you would most likely do is you would consult your mind and look at these pictures again, and then realize, oh gosh, I came home and I put my keys on the dresser. That's how you use your mind intelligently. Meaning you are aware of your memories. You're aware of your past. So now when we say subconscious, memories, what do we think of? So that's my question for you. If by the way, I got some answers in between. That's nice. Carol says my memory is looking at these pictures. All right. Good. And Dimitri says myself. Okay, now, if I would ask you subconscious memories, in other words, below your awareness, right? So you have this awareness scale somehow, and you're aware of a number of things, but then there's this area below your awareness that you cannot seem to access. Maybe there's some data there in the mind somewhere that you cannot seem to access. So when you think of subconscious memories, which is the title of tonight, I'm just very curious, what did you think of with that title? How does that resonate with you? What do you think subconscious memories, what do you think that means? Put something in the chat, maybe in your own words. Now, I might give you a hint. Does it make you think of dreams? Like, could dreams be subconscious memories? Or could nightmares be subconscious memories? Or maybe certain fears that you have, would those be subconscious memories? What do you think it is? I'm very curious what people think of when they hear this phrase, this word, subconscious memories. Maybe you can help me tonight and let me know, in your own words, what do you think of? All right, so Carol says dreams. Okay, that's cool. All right, anybody else? Okay, there is this experiences and installed ideas and perspectives. Experiences and installed ideas and perspective. Okay. All right, well, let's have a look. So we know a little bit more about the mind. We're not going to go into that whole part, but suffice to say that when you imagine sitting in the living room and let's say you close your eyes and you could pinpoint these objects in space, it is as if you're recreating that space again in your mind. You could say that's a mental experience. You could say, well, that's perhaps even a spiritual experience. And there's something spiritual about you or something spiritual about the mind. We're interested in things that actually work. We're not interested in just rather theories. We actually, from an engineering type of point of view, just like when you bring your car to a garage, you want to actually get something fixed. You want to get something improved. Okay? So let's see in what way these subconscious memories could actually work and how they could affect you. Allow me to wipe out the board. So let's imagine little Joe here. Maybe take another color. My black is not that great anymore. We got little Joe here, but little Joe is being attacked by a dog. And Joe is in agony. He's in a lot of fear. He's also in pain because that is a ferocious dog, and the dog just rips his arm to pieces. And Joe is actually losing a lot of blood. A moment later, he finds himself in an ambulance. On a way to the hospital. So he's just there on a stretcher in the ambulance. The sirens are running. He's experiencing all the emotions. And then right after that, he finds himself on the operation table. And there's some doctors there who are operating on him, or cutting into his arm. They were putting him full with syringes and stitching him up and do all kinds of painful things while he's there lying on a bed. And that is in a hospital, right? Now, maybe moments here he might have been conscious, and moments here he might have been subconscious. In other words, he might have been unconscious. Certain moments there he might have been conscious, certain moments there he might have been completely unconscious. We got a full package here, and you could say it's a bit of a traumatic experience for Joe. And all that happened in a certain moment in Joe's life. Now, life went on, and Joe is older now. So here's Joe, and he's walking down the road. That's his mind. And this whole experience here is just stored over there in Joe's mind. All right? So now Joe's crossing the road, and out of the corner of his eye, he sees a dog. That dog happens to resemble the dog over here in the picture. Now my question is, how is Joe going to respond to this? How is Joe going to react to this? What do you think is going to happen? Curious what you guys think would happen or could happen. Is there a certain way that Joe is going to respond to this situation? Dimitri says, okay, scared. Kyle, you're there, my brother. He will trigger the past memory of the vicious dog and treat his dog the same and be scared of it. Derry says he will connect memory with the situation, creating fear in him. Carol says flashback of when he was bit. All right. So, that's an interesting thing, right? So now the thing here is that this contained pain. Put it in red. This whole incident contained pain and it contained emotion. These things have been stored into the memory as pain and as emotion. When they get triggered, when they get reactivated, that same pain and emotion, you could call it discomfort, and any other unwanted feeling, it now gets triggered and goes into full effect again. In other words, what has been stored during this moment is somewhere recorded in the mind of Joe and is going to affect him now. So Joe is going to feel the same discomfort. He's going to feel the same emotion again. If he was very afraid in that situation, he will be afraid again here. But if over there he was very angry and he wanted to kick the dog, he's going to be very angry again here. If he was terrified and he just wanted to run away, He's going to be terrified again here, and he will have the feeling that he will want to run away. Now, the pain there is a sensation that will be forced upon him a little bit differently as a warning signal that he had better get out of there, otherwise he's going to be in trouble. In other words, there's something there that controls him. Okay, now, here's my question. At this moment, is Joe really aware? Is Joe really aware of what is happening to him at that moment? Is he aware of it? What do you guys think? Would he be aware of the situation that he is in? Is he conscious about the situation that he's in? Okay? Now, so we have a yes and we have a most probably not. Okay, I'll give you the answer. He is not really aware of the situation that he is in, and I'll tell you why. Because there's something there that dictates him to feel in a certain way. There's something there that dictates him to behave in a certain way. He has to perhaps run away, or he has to perhaps fight, or he has to perhaps just give up and succumb, or he has to be numb and do nothing. But here's the problem. This is where the mind makes mistakes. The mind confuses this dog with the dog here 30 years ago. So that is actually irrationality. That moment there is not the same as that moment here. In other words, this moment in time is very different from this moment in time. So the mind can actually mix it up. Take that picture from there, look through the lens, as if you will, look through a kind of a lens and interpret in a certain way. And now we get something that is known as bias or prejudice. Right? Is that phenomenon? Interpreting what you have in front of you actually quite different, because there's something there that is a subconscious recording. Okay, does this make a bit sense to you? Just a quick question. Does it make a bit sense? Okay, well, that's cool. Now, I have a question for you. Is there any kind of an event, that makes you feel nervous or uncomfortable? Do you have something like that? Is there anything that you feel like, job interviews always get me nervous? Or speaking in front of a group of people, that always gets me nervous and uncomfortable. I get very, very uncomfortable if I need to see a doctor or a dentist. I'm peeing in my pants if I have to do that. I don't really feel comfortable talking to my boss. I'd rather not. In other words, maybe you want to give an example. Is there anything that, any type of event, any kind of thing in your life that makes you feel very, very nervous or uncomfortable? Is there any such a thing that makes you feel uncomfortable? Please, if you can, give me an example. Right, Carol? So you have one. Maybe you can elaborate on that. What is the thing that you're running into sometimes? What makes you feel uncomfortable? Paying taxes, for sure. All right. That's like somebody says, okay, I'm going to collect your arm today, right? But maybe Darius, maybe you can give us something more, a bit more down to earth, because I'm sure nobody's really comfortable with paying taxes, right? I mean, I'm not gonna go into it, but I wouldn't feel comfortable to, let's say, give my wallet to a pickpocket, or I don't know, talk to a thief who's aiming a gun at me. Well, let's keep it a bit more down to earth. What do you think, Darius? Is there anything there that makes you feel uncomfortable? Okay, so Bernie says talking in front of a group. Okay. Carol says being the center of attention. All right. Good. So now thank you for the answers, guys. That's amazing. Maybe here you saw, okay, Erik, that's all fine. I got nothing with dogs. All right. But you see that there's some kind of a mechanism that kicks in. We can imagine that, okay, an incident like that could create this kind of outcome. You might say, well, okay, it's fine, but I got nothing with dogs. Well, let's imagine now that this is your boss, and you got something in your mind, some person resembling a boss, and you would see that a similar kind of situation might occur. Now, to give you an idea about this public speaking, being at the center of attention, talking in front of a group, what is actually going on? There's a couple of things happening here with this mechanism. So let's say you want to talk in front of a group, and you feel that there's something there that controls your body. All of a sudden, your legs might feel a little bit like spaghetti. You feel a bit shaky. You feel a bit nervous. But you can't shake it off. You can't shake off this nervousness. You can't regain that strength. Now you might have some stuff on paper, and maybe you want to read from paper like that, but you can't hold it still. You can't hold it still, and somehow something is controlling your body to the extent that you can't keep your body still. Maybe at the same time you become aware of the fact that you start transpiring, you start sweating, it's getting hot, and you get a dry throat all of a sudden. You get a dry throat and you have this feeling that you need to keep on drinking and drinking. No matter how much you drink, you still have a dry throat. So there's something there that controls the body. Now, there's also something there that controls your mind. It seems like something is there that shuts down, it completely shuts down, like it blankets your mind. You had studied what you were going to say, and now you mean to talk about these things, and all of a sudden your mind goes blank, and you go like, I don't really know anymore what I was going to say. Same thing perhaps in a job interview. Same thing at an exam. Your mind all of a sudden goes blank. Right? Now, that is the subconscious memory that actually takes over the control at that point. It misidentifies the situation that you're in with a seemingly similar situation in the past. So how would that be? Imagine that this was all recorded while you were unconscious. In other words, your mind did make a recording, but you're not conscious about it. You don't know what is its content. So you have no clue what actually is affecting you. And that is actually where the trouble is. Because right now, that's going to control your body. It's going to control your thoughts. It will even control your purposes and what you are going to do. So in this case, Joe simply wanted to cross the street, then saw the dog, then changed his mind and made a U-turn and went the other way. Or like, you want to go and talk to your boss, you're getting out of your chair, all of a sudden you feel that knot in your belly, you get this anxiety feeling, you do another step, it gets a bit more intense, you turn around, you figure your boss must be too busy today, and you go back to your chair and you try to relax again. There's something there that controls your body, controls your mind, even controls your purposes. I'm going to give you one more example here how that could be. And then we're almost ready for tonight, yeah? Let's imagine we get this situation. We take Joe again. Joe is there on the, oh, probably not a good caller. Joe is here on the operation table. There's two surgeons there. One says, how's your wife? The other one says, well, you know, women can be trusted. This is no part of the package. In, let's say, Joe's mind. So my question to you is, do you think that a conversation between two surgeons while Joe is having an operation, these guys are talking to one another, and one says, how's your wife? And the other one says, well, women can't be trusted. Do you think that that statement could have an impact on Joe's mental health? Do you think that statement can have an impact on Joe's mental health? Dimitri says, yes, possible. All right, Bernie says, yes. Cool, all right. So, here's the thing. Later on, Joe is sitting at home, enjoying a movie. He's looking at the clock. He sees it's quite late. His wife is not home yet. Joe never had any trouble at all with his wife. All of a sudden, this thing here gets reactivated. Just gets the idea that somehow he cannot trust his wife. Never had that thought before. All of a sudden he had this thought. His wife comes home, and he starts a big argument with her. Why is she that late? And so on. Anyway, guys, I see that we're actually there in time now. Just to because I want to keep it short, we can actually elaborate more on this next week. But if you see that, could you relate this potentially to irrational behavior in people? Could that potentially explain irrational people and irrational behavior in people, you think? That situation here of having a recording that you don't know about, but it's still in your mind, recorded in a subconscious way, or being bitten by this dog and losing consciousness, and it's recorded in a subconscious way. So now there's something there below your awareness, below your consciousness, that has an effect on you. That makes sense? Okay, glad to hear that. Now, maybe you have heard that we only use 10% of our potential. Maybe you've ever heard that we only use like 10% of our potential. That means you're not using 90% of your potential, right? The 90%, funny enough, has been found to be part of that subconscious recordings that now make you feel that you cannot be what you want to be, that you cannot do what you want to do, that you cannot have what you want to have. If that makes sense. It has been found there's a subconscious collection of memories that actually actively work against you. If you feel that you cannot speak in public, that is that subconscious force that makes you feel very, very uncomfortable. So actually, it uses force and it uses thoughts to change your mind, and it makes you not be what you want to be. And you seem that you cannot do what you want to do. All right, now if you want to know where this is coming from and why this keeps happening to you, then I would actually recommend you to read this book. It's called Dianetics, the Modern Science of Mental Health. It's a book on the mind. It tells you what the mind is. And in the very first chapter in the book, it tells you where the 90% of your potential is and how you can actually develop it. And with it, you can quickly increase a person's IQ, you can increase a person's confidence, and you can increase competence. So imagine that that negative force no longer has an effect on you. You no longer get the knot in the stomach. You no longer get the anxiety feeling. You can just keep the same emotion that you had. You will now feel more comfortable to deliver that speech in public, or talk to your boss, or do whatever you want. So to that extent, I want to recommend the book to you. We actually made a special offer for you tonight. The book is 20 euros. It's 16, 17 pounds or something. And we're actually making it available tonight with free shipping. I believe that's over all of Europe. So a link is going to pop up. Check it out. That is a book that has been has sold more than 22 million copies in over 50 languages. Successful people like CEOs, managing directors, company owners, they use this because it's actually something that works, right? It's something that works for people and actually gives results, and gives results fast, just like you bring your car to a garage that I was referring to earlier in the lecture. Okay. So, all right, so Bernie said you have that. All right, that's fantastic. For everybody else who wants to have the book, I know Darius, we spoke before, Darius also got his own copy. I read my own already 4 times. I keep on getting more and more inspiration to do webinars based on that book. It's absolutely full of data. Now, if you have any question for me, anything specifically that you want to know, maybe you want to have a chat with me, whatever, I'm very, I would welcome that. I like that idea. I like to make new friends. I like to talk to people. I can always share information with you. My recommendation is always, get knowledge. Be more knowledgeable. This will take away a lot of confusions and answer a lot of the questions that you have. Like, why is this happening to me? Why can he do that, and why is it causing me trouble? Or how much better can you get? What is your real potential? You'll find these kind of answers in that book. Okay, Bernie, you haven't started reading it yet? Okay, good. Well, I can help you, Bernie. There's some short films that I can send you that would help you to explain a couple more things that would ease up the way to start reading. Okay, Jennifer, can you please send me last night's Zoom? Yes, Jennifer, I can do that with all pleasure. Good, guys. So it's 7-8 minutes past 8. Anything else that you want to ask before we end off? Bernie also wants to have the link. Okay, that's good. Cool. Yes, I got that, Bernie, last night. Good. Cool. All right, guys. So thank you very much for being here tonight. The link is going to stay active with the free shipping, I think, for another hour. So avail yourself of the book. It's basically for the price of a few cups of coffee, or for the price of a small McDonald's meal. You actually have a book there that is life-changing. It's the only book on planet Earth that tells you accurately what is the mind, how does it work, why do these situations keep happening again and again and again, and how can you permanently fix that and get it out of your system and get smarter, a higher IQ, more confidence, and be more able to achieve your goals in life. I'll leave that with you. I hope you have a great rest of your evening, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.